I don't think it's a political game. People read into that in different ways. It doesn't mean anything, right? The question, is this a political game, doesn't actually mean anything, because it's what does the word political mean to you?
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was released on November 7th, 2007, to all consoles and PC, and the Nintendo Wii for some reason. The title was followed up with two successors, Call of Duty Not 4 Modern Warfare 2, and Call of Duty Jesus F***ing Christ, there are way too many Call of Duties, Modern Warfare 3. The Modern Warfare series is best known for revolutionizing the first-person shooter into the 2010s. Call of Duty 4 brought a new standard of film-like quality to FPS campaigns, while also breaking out of the endless barrage of World War II games. All of this was done without being as complicated as Advanced Warfighter 2. Modern Warfare's popularity quickly outgrew its single title and into a blockbusting trilogy that changed shooters for years to come. In this video, we'll just be focusing on Call of Duty 4. That's the first in the series. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 1. I want to take a look at these games and their impact on the world, especially as far as changing shooters forever. It had a very big impact on me when I was a kid, and I decided I just wanted to revisit it and kind of see where my outlook of the world is now compared to this shooter I loved so much as a kid. And unfortunately, since it is a political game, because all war is political, we're probably going to be talking a little bit of politics. I tend to, as the kids say, pop off. So if you happen to see politics, you want to talk about it, feel free to comment into the comment void box down below. I know YouTube is very bad with its comment system, but I would like to hear from you, and I would love for there to be a civil conversation. With that out of the way, we're going to be looking at this more so in chronological order. Just to get the timeline right, I want to make sure I can build up some context before we go into the video. So we're going to start from the very beginning. So strap up, strap on, and keep those fruit killing knives handy, because we're going to be taking a look at Our story begins in 1996, after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The international arms dealer Imran Zakhaev is disdained by the growing power of the West. Though he mourned the USSR, he saw this as an opportunity to salvage uranium fuel rods from Chernobyl. As a man on his grind set, he used the proceeds from these deals in order to fund his own military faction. During a deal in Pripyat, Ukraine, God damn, there's a war going on and I don't even know the cities of Ukraine. During a deal in Pripyat, Ukraine, Zakhaev was the target of assassination by two British snipers. This was the first state-approved assassination since the Second World War, and that job was taken up by SAS soldiers Captain Macmillan and then Lieutenant John Price. With Price being the one to take the shot, he succeeds in hitting his target. We see Zakhaev's arm blown clean off and expected he would die of blood loss. The two snipers then escape Pripyat before they can confirm their kill. But by 2011, Zakhaev rose to the rank of chairman for the Russian Ultranationalist Party, a political organization seeking to restore Russia back to its Soviet power. With the party's despise of Western nations, Zakhaev launched a political crisis which would evolve into an all-out civil war. The only thing that stood in his way was the resistance of the Russian loyalists. But knowing his plan would ring alarm bells across the Western world, Imran Zakhaev sought the influence of an unnamed Middle Eastern country, TM. He also sought the influence of Khaled al-Assad, and after robust funding and arming of al-Assad's forces, he formed the Operation Force to launch a coup against the not Saudi Arabian government, because that's propaganda we're not allowed to do in the US. This resulted in the abduction and an execution of President former president, Yasser Al-Fulani, on live television. With the Western world distracted and the OP4 funded, Zakhaev launched his plan to reclaim Russia. Over on Turf Island, also known as the UK, also known the place where the Queen died, we meet up with our members of the SAS. We play as Soap McTavish.
What the hell kind of name is Soap?
Who recently had throat surgery, so he can't talk this game. Soap is starting his first day with the SAS, going through training with Call of Duty 2 star Captain Price. Somehow. He's an old man. And man that I periodically forget exists. Gaz. That's this guy. Forget he exists all the time. He's actually one of the favorite characters, and I forget he exists all the time. But everyone else doesn't really matter. They'll probably be killed by you friendly firing them. I know I did it, but as an expert soldier, obviously, Soap needs to learn how to properly use a firearm, learn how to do his job, and teach a watermelon a piece of his mind. But in the next mission, we're a little bit more competent. We get to ride on a boat. But unlike the last time I was on a boat, I'm not being traumatized for my lack of masculinity, and my dad's not here. And I have a gun. The SAS boards an Estonian cargo ship in the Bering Strait. Soap gets his sea legs and kills some drunk people because he's straight edge. After harshing the vibe, the SAS moves across the ship and makes their way below deck, shooting their way through two of the same rooms and making their way towards a mysterious ticking noise. Turns out, it's a nuke, and someone did not secure this according to OSHA regulations. Now, the team can't take the entire nuke, so they take a clipboard, the next best thing, because there's nothing more powerful than bureaucracy. Then they're ambushed by Explosion Ex Machina, brought on by the steep decline of unionization in Estonia. Soap regains his sea legs and has a mad chase and daring escape from the boat, ending in a leap of faith. As the team leaves, we watch the ship sink with a nuke inside, guaranteeing some f***ed up fish and some pissed off Estonians. Because they f***ed with Estonia, the ultra-nationalists out the mole Nikolai and hold him in a Russian house that is now unaffordable for the average worker due to rapid inflation. On our way, we meet the Russian loyalists, headed by Kamarov, who, I guess, stinks.
Guys, you smell that?
Yeah, Kamarov.
Then Captain Price brings up an incident in Beirut, which many believe to be a reference of the Beirut barrack bombings of 1983. Or you can be correct like me, and your headcanon is where they spent 4 seasons at the Four Seasons twice. It's my headcanon. It should be yours. After repressing their homosexual tendencies, we assist Kamarov's team to invade a home and save the life of our homie, Nikolai.
In a few hours, why?
The Americans are making mistake. They will never take Al-Assad alive.
We're invading the Middle East, brother! Hell yeah! Woo! Yay, yay! Yeah! Oh! Ugh. I got the Freedom Beer. Alright, so we're playing as a God-fearing, red-blooded Marine American named Sergeant Paul Jackson, flying into not Saudi Arabia, with one of the most badass soundtracks you've ever heard. And I would play it, but I can't capitulate to the YouTube neo-Marxist communist copyright system. Those Hitler-Stalin lovers over at YouTube aren't important right now. Like, god damn, look at all that oil. We're here for all that. We're here for that pure, flammable, organic American oil. We land in the city where we find out that on a live broadcast, Al-Assad is giving a speech out to his compatriots. And after killing 100 or so non-Assads and storming their buildings, we come to a TV station where each hallway is lined with silver play buttons. Then we get to meet Sergeant Griggs, a man who loves to pop out of closets. We join forces and fight our way to the studio where Khaled, oh no, what a fucking nightmare, Al-Assad took a page out of old Sam Cedar's book and tricked us with the pre-recording. After our Cower with Crowder moment, Infinity Ward has Griggs put an invisible mixtape in a TV and turns the volume knob up. there is a soundboard not even 5 feet from him. I think it's because I went to audio engineering school for a day, but I don't think that's how that works. I don't think that's how that works, Griggs. We love him. Once we're done getting owned in the marketplace of ideas, we go full American goon mode. So much so that I hear eagle caws every time I see life fade from my enemy's eyes. With a hell yeah brother and a yee yee, we blast our way through as many copies of the same 3 guys until we get to the Church of St. Javelin. Our patron saint guides us in our rockets to destroy the amount of tanks equivalent to the GDP of Antigua. But our job's not done yet. We need to help some fellow devil dogs in their big ass tank named the War Pig. Such a badass name for a fucking tank. After adding a few people to our group, the entire family gets together and does what any family does. Plot the assassination of a standing president. While our devil dogs are taking their nappies, the Bean Toast squad is getting shot out of the air and needs to terrorize your babushka's village in order to escape. But as they're rushing towards safety, they're also being rushed by Russians and don't really have enough rare rubles to pay them off with. Though they may not have the payoff, they do have the payload. It's the AC-130 level, and I know I know it's cool. It's a super awesome level, actually. It's amazing because it's not just like a trick of the screen. It's an actual 3D rendered map, and you get these fucking awesome weapons. You just get to just mow people down with. But have you ever thought about what this means? Like the reality of using the AC-130s, known as the Angel of Death, by the way, using their weapons is not that different from this video game. I mean, you just press the controller and your enemy turns into a memory. Drone warfare's kinda dark, but my testosterone loves it. Why am I like this? After we destroy half the countryside while somehow avoiding a war crime, we extract the SAS to safety, and from there we go back to not Saudi Arabia, where we make the next final push to capture Al-Assad. We liberate our way through a twice, maybe thrice liberated neighborhood and liberate an enemy tank with the Liberty Shell through a Liberty Wall. And then after we send our friend Warpig back to the main conflict zone, we board a chopper named the Sea Knight and make our way towards Al-Assad's last known position, which we know here as a really good strategy for some reason. Sea Knight, such a good fucking name for like any War Pig, Sea Knight. We're gonna get Deadly. Speaking of, we fly with the Sea Knight team alongside the chopper Deadly, making our way to the presidential palace. After some gravedigger time and tearing down my statues. Oh no, brother, my fucking history. I learn all my fucking history from statues. We drop off an advanced team. So that means they're going towards the palace in order to apprehend Al-Assad while we take on the ground war. Of course, we find out there are some Marines in need of assistance. So we go ahead and do a rescue mission for them. Deadly goes to refuel. And of course, we go and save our homies in the setting of one of the best Call of Duty maps I've ever played in on multiplayer. And Deadly comes to reunite with us once more just to get shot down. This is also about the same time we find out that there's a nuke in the presidential palace. But it turns out the team did not understand the trolley problem and goes to save the downed pilot. I swear if this was made today, they would call it woke because the pilot's a woman maybe. But they do this mission knowing that they are not going to be far enough from the blast zone if the nuke goes off. I mean, good thing that's never gonna happen.
We have a confirmed nuke. Everyone hang on!
After the nuke goes off, the BBC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, Al Jazeera, and the Dodo all decide to broadcast at the same time while showing us a list of casualties that is definitely going on a t-shirt in the US. I think they're going to call it Never Forget Again on this one. Maybe a tasteful crying eagle. Hell yeah. That's fucking patriotic. We play as Paul Jackson for the last time as he walks the ruins of the not Saudi Arabian city. Through the ruins, he comes across a playground, and it makes him reflect, and he realizes maybe that Middle Easterners are people too. But before Jackson fades away, he looks to the sky and he says his final words. Damn, all this for a Camaro? The one thing I do have to say about Act 1 is that it is heart pumping. The USMC levels start to tickle an urban warfare setting, executing those explosive and epic battle scenes, mind my use of the word, but I gotta say, the homes and offices of those buildings are a little sparse, but I mean, I guess when your city is going through a revolution and then being invaded by the largest imperial power on Earth, you tend not to worry about sprucing up the place. To contrast that full-blown action, you get these measured and tactical CQB levels with the SAS. And I think these levels actually help each other build onto this quick tension. Like, we do have to remember, there is a nuke that is just in the hands of God knows who. So the both of them really start to build upon each other, which I feel like is not going to be there in Acts 2 and 3. There's an old quote that I think maybe George Washington or someone said, there's decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks where decades happen. I think it's George Washington who said it. But after Act 1, I feel like we hit the end of those weeks where years happen. So we'll get back to that in Act 2 and 3. But what I wanted to do with these intermissions was kind of talk about my thoughts on the previous act and share some memories that I had from originally playing this game. And I feel like we need to talk about something. And it's going to be a little heavy. I can't really stray away from the politics in and around Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare came out 6 years after 9/11, 4 years into the War on Terror in the Middle East, and during the presidential campaign of Barack Obama. I think it's fair to say at the time of this game's release, Islamophobia was, still is, a plague upon this nation. A few years ago at a barbecue, I brought up the fact a former neighbor of ours couldn't drink because they were Muslim. And the response I got was, wow, you really felt comfortable having them around here? It's not even Islamophobia either. God forbid anyone looks Arab. You've seen the video of the blue-tanked in Allah lady.
Allah. Allah. You fucking Muslim.
Yeah, you got problems, lady.
And on the campaign trail, John McCain was doing a Q&A, and a woman stated that she didn't trust Obama because he was an Arab. I mean, to which John McCain said,
"No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with."
I myself have even heard the argument about securing our southern border so that Muslims don't dress up as Mexicans and bomb our country. Jesus f***ing Christ. I truly don't know how to explain how 9/11 just broke the brain of America. Do you want to know what kind of effect that has on the average American? Ask any American what they see when they imagine a terrorist. What does he look like? This is the Google image results for when you look up Iraq. The world at this time had a big problem with Arabs and Muslims, and it still does. But I want to recommend a great video by Mustachio called Gaming Has a Big Problem with Arab and Muslim Stereotypes, which you can find down in the description. He recommends a great book as well about Arabs being portrayed in media pre-9/11. And it's still not great, but that will be one of my reads coming up soon. So thank you, Mustachio, for the book recommendation. I would also like to point out that I'm not trying to say that Call of Duty is actively making anti-Arab propaganda, but perpetuating stereotypes during time of war with a particular ethnic group and a particular religious group in a particular part of the world. I mean, we were playing with fire here. This franchise is not doing very well when it comes to the new Modern Warfare 2 either. On the recent era forums, there is a user named Dance Inferno that makes a thread showing the misuses and misunderstandings of the Arabic language. I really suggest you guys go ahead and check that out because he can explain it a lot better than I can to you, because I myself don't know anything about Arabic or Urdu. But to get it all out of the way, I do just want to make sure that I get my point across. Infinity Ward, please hire more Arabs and Muslims. We are far beyond this being a learning experience. After the events of what definitely was a war crime, Khaled al-Assad escapes from the unnamed Middle Eastern country TM to a safe house in Azerbaijan, a country that is so fun to say as it is to spell. Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan, Azerbaijan. Just when the country had a break from military engagements beyond my comprehension, the SAS and Russian loyalists find al-Assad in a farmhouse playing IRL Stardew Valley. Captain Price ties him to a chair and beats him because of the internalized homophobia he experiences. And hey, Gaz is there. Hey Gaz, how have you been? Oh, me? I've been busy replacing you as Captain Price's best friend. A well-timed ominous phone call leads to Captain Price cancel culturing al-Assad's face. This helps harsh the vibe and fade to black for the reveal.
Who was that, sir? Zakhaev. Imran Zakhaev.
Ooh, spooky. I know we've gone over the timeline in the beginning, but I think not giving the missions all gillied up and one shot, one kill some talk time in this part would be somewhat of a disservice. These two levels basically re-standardized stealth shooters for quite some time. Combining action, stealth, and storytelling is in style now, but before all gillied up, absolutely nothing came close to doing this. I remember playing this game for the first time, having my brain explode from Captain McMillan doing something as simple as standing up. A well-trained eye will definitely see him after playing the level, and despite slightly aged graphics, the effect still holds up today. It's amazing that this game, Call of Duty, this run and gun, over-the-top, infantry-style shooter, was able to ask its audience to calm down and take it slow and make every movement count. And we did it! We took our plates and ate this level up. I remember having a very 12-year-old conversation with my friends about this level. We would try to dress up as ghillie suits and then go play airsoft in this little back alley desert area. Why did they let kids have airsoft guns? But I think it's fair to say that demand for sniper levels and even sniper games hit an all-time high after these two levels. I even think without these levels, we probably wouldn't have games like the Sniper Elite series. So a review, we and McMillan sneak our way into the irradiated areas of Ukraine in our ghillie suits. We go from team sniping targets to hiding from helicopters and picking fights with targets. But the one part I'm sure that most of us go back to is having to crawl through a marching enemy convoy. When I was a kid, I felt like I was going to have severe heart complications due to the stress I got from playing this the first time. You are two people who have no chance at making it in direct combat with this crowd. If you're found, you're dead. Sometimes you also get ran over by tanks. But after slow and concise movements, you make your way through a blockade, you crawl under some cars, and you make your way towards the hotel before getting to modern warfare's worst enemy, the dogs. I don't know what it is about the dogs in Modern Warfare, but I could never counter them. I felt like something was always off in the time of countering the dogs. To me, it felt like you already had to know what button you needed to press and hit it as soon as the command popped up. It also seems to be somewhat of a challenge given there are videos about these specific dogs when you look up Attack Dogs COD 4 on YouTube. But after not shooting the dog, because you're a decent person, you make your way up to the hotel and lie in wait for Zakhaev. After the shot, we shoot down a helicopter because Call of Duty needs to make sure you have your cool factor. We escape the hotel via rappel and blow up the nest. But just like my ex-wife, you can't fake your death forever, and we're found by Zakhaev's troops, just like how I'll find you, Stacy. We fight our way through an abandoned Soviet apartment that could send me down a city planning rabbit hole, but I'm not going to do that. We fight dogs, Russians, Russian dogs, dog Russians. We fight a lot of Russians. But then we come to a grassy area between two apartments when a hind decides to jump scare us. We and Captain McMillan shoot down the chopper to lead to one of my favorite tropes in film. Characters running away from things and the audience speculating how they could have dodged to the side while also spamming the Prometheus school of running away from things in the comments section. Here's that clip from Gumball.
Quick! Let's run away as fast as we can in a straight line!
When the chopper finally settles, we see that it has injured McMillan's leg, rendering him immobile. Knowing he'll never be able to drive his Dodge Charger again, Captain McMillan gives us no choice but to be carried by us, the player. And if you're familiar with Overwatch, you understand what it means to carry dead weight. But luckily for us, Captain McMillan knows how to stay on objective. We take McMillan to an extraction point and take up defense on a grassy knoll that's not involved with George H.W. Bush or John Kennedy, and wait for our team's rescue. After a few minutes, we board our rescue chopper and fly out of this memory back into the present. I imagine everyone listening to the story in that room from the last episode thinking, damn, crazy, man. And maybe Gaz is saying something along the lines like, hi, I'm here too, please notice me, to no response. 8 hours after Al-Assad's death, the SAS lays down traps for an incoming ultra-nationalist attack. Explosives are laid out along each of the holding lines, and they allow me to have two very big guns. We fall back line by line using Gatling guns, large explosives, and our survival skills.
We have enemy tanks approaching from the north. Bloody hell, I'm hit.
Okay, I used my survival skills. After the death of a beloved character, Mac, we fall back to the safe house where we test Price's knowledge of Tolkien. The rescue team informs our crew that our landing zone is too hot and that we need to get back down to the river. You know, the place we just came from. After the hobbiting our way to the LZ, we're saved by the USMC and reunited with Griggs? Was he not in the blast range of the nuke? Putting the mysteries of Griggs aside, we have much more important matters to attend to, like kidnapping the children of dictators. Heading into southern Russia, the SAS and USMC are hatching a plan to bring Imram Zakhaev out of hiding. The team ambushes and takes control of an enemy checkpoint, disguising themselves as Russian soldiers. The team await a convoy escorting Viktor Zakhaev, the son of our big bad, Imram Zakhaev. If our team had any situational awareness, they would have known that Victor came with the right fit for the job. Victor is the perfect example of having the right tool for the job, unlike John Hinckley. The SAS crew chases him through a village and nearly levels an apartment block to trap Victor on a roof. Seeing no way out, he shows our crew how big of a fan he is of our Bud Dwyer and logs off his real-life account. Again, having the right tool for the right job. Thus, closing out Act 2. If you've ever dabbled in creative writing, you've probably seen this. This is a graph for the 3-act plot structure. In the first act, you have your setup. This puts our characters in place for an inciting incident. This is an action that sets off the rest of the story. Our inciting incident is the execution of President Al-Fulani, and that kicks things off for the rest of the story, leading up to the major plot point of nuking an entire city. Act 2, our rising action area, somewhat plateaus. If you take into consideration of the timeline, our characters are only in 2 places chronologically. The main twist of this act is just that Zakhaev is alive and making deals with the Op-4. And that twist doesn't feel like it lands. I think it's because Call of Duty has bad guys. For example, I want to use a game and story that everyone agrees is good. The Last of Us Part 2. But I want to draw my focus to the WLF and the Seraphites. These 2 groups are obviously enemies with each other, but they have their differences and similarities. The WLF is looking to rebuild society to pre-infection days, while the Seraphites believe that society itself was a destructive force that would cause nature to fight back. I won't bog down on this, but you can make a great point for either side here. They both have a moral system, and both of them actually believe in it. But most of all, It's people fighting over ideals and a way of life. Qualities like this help build a debate among players. You can see the WLF as an invading force, colonizing the Seraphites who wish to live away from humanity within nature, and you can see the Seraphites as a tribe that is holding back humanity and reintroducing religion and traditionalism. Call of Duty does not have this, and I'm not sure if it's allowed to have this, and it's for one glaring reason. Call of Duty is pro-Western propaganda. In this entire game, we are constantly skirting around the ideology of our villains. All we know is they're ultra-nationalist, and they hate the West. They never talk about the USSR or if they want to reinstate a socialist republic. They don't talk about rearranging their society. They don't want to talk about what their goals are. They don't want to talk about their ideology. The villains don't have an ideology. What makes you think that the protagonists have one? Acts of war cannot be separated from politics and its ideology. In order to build a villain we can remember and a villain that feels right to go after, they need something to fight for. Our villains should believe in something, even if it's Red Scare propaganda. It'll make the characters much more memorable, in my opinion. If you're about my age, I want to ask, did you ever remember the names of the villains when you first played the game? Or was it Sunglasses Hat Bad Guy, Tracksuit Bad, and Old One Arm? We hardly got any time with these characters to figure out who they are or what even their names were. Act 2 is usually a confrontation stage. The only character we really knew anything about was Al-Assad, and now he's replaced by someone who the story presents as a sudden ghost from the past. Right now, I feel like there's not a person to go after. It's just the fact that there's someone out there that has control of tens of thousands of nukes. Everything we really know about Zakhaev gets squeezed into the last stretch of Act 3. That's the transition. Bring up the title card.
Our so-called leaders prostituted us to the West, destroyed our culture, our economies, our honor. Our blood has been spilled on our soil. My blood on their hands. They are the invaders. All US and British forces will leave Russia immediately or suffer the consequences.
After the death of his son, Zakhaev threatens the Allied forces to leave Russia or face nuclear demise. Not being one to take threats kindly, our team drops into Russia. And after our Halo drop, we meet up with the team and God damn it, where is Griggs? It's alright, it's Griggs. He's known for leaving his team behind. But despite my abandonment issues, we save him and blow up an electricity pylon. This is how men bond. We go for a scenic walk and shoot some bad guys before we're almost shot by good guys. The American sniper team promises to protect us when...
Inside the perimeter. What the hell is that?
We got a problem here. There's another one.
And that's an ultimatum. 2 ICBMs are launched towards the US, targeting major East Coast cities, and also Hartford, Connecticut. The estimated casualty count is possibly 41 million people. This is also known as a lot of 9/11s. Price and the team rush to the silos in order to detonate the missiles mid-flight. This is because Price would rather have a different country get irradiated, like Uzbekistan or Saudi Arabia again. The team breaches the perimeter and clears the surface to the facility. We descend into the facility as the warheads split. With 10 minutes remaining, Price and the team use their CQB training to make their way to the war room. Gaz has a second funny and useful line in the game.
Guys, can't you make it open faster? Negative, sir. You can try pulling it if it makes you feel better.
Good job, Gaz. Then we blow up a wall and invade a Russian gaming lounge, where we press X to stop a bomb. This is considered a success because at least most of the debris fell in the ocean. But remember, those warheads are radioactive. Not only will that cause some fucked up fish, it's also going to irradiate the land below. What country do you think the debris and radiation will land on? Put your answer in the comments, because the game doesn't answer that. With the bombs destroyed, we catch Zakhaev escaping the facility. Price and the team shoot their way back out of the facility and into a truck to chase down Zakhaev, leading to Call of Duty's last cool factor sequence. Boy howdy, I loved this level when I was a kid. When I would play a lot of multiplayer games, or even play with toys, I was always making movies in my head. So getting the feeling of being a gunner in something like a Warthog, but also in the context of being like a badass action movie star, made this combination that was like chocolate and peanut butter to my brain. Mind you, I was 12 at the time, but my testosterone was kind of on an overdose at this point. I was really into tactical gunfights, car chases, punchy one-liners, other men. I love the combination of all of this over-the-top action coming together. You got to speed on the freeway, shoot at guys, shoot at cars, shoot at flying cars, shoot at carring guys. This whole high-octane adventure leads us to a bridge where Griggs informs us, oh no, there's a bridge. That helicopter is going to take out the bridge. That would be a narrative foil to our character's specific purposes if that were to happen. That is something I would not like. We wake up at the end of a bridge with the most polite destruction pathway and run to cover. The teams fight desperately as Price reaches out for air support. The ultranationalists begin to close in, leaving our heroes in a tight position. Good thing Call of Duty left a tinker behind our team to explosion ex machina ourselves into drowsy last stand. The ending that Modern Warfare loves. When we awake, Griggs is doing a tactical move called taking someone who is behind cover and moving them into the open. He's also shot to death. We look over to Price, who is safely behind cover, the same cover we were dragged from, thanks Griggs, and we notice 3 figures approaching us. It's Zakhaev and 2 cronies. As they approach, they spot Gaz, who is shot to death again. But now is the time. It's your last shot. Price slides you a pistol to finish the job. You take aim and plant a bullet into each one. Zakhaev falls to the ground dead. As we hold on for dear life, musical swells fill the air as Objective Complete grazes the screen. We're about to let go when Kamarov and the Loyalists drop from a helicopter. One man is doing compressions on Price. Before we get our answer, we're lifted up into the chopper and we fade to white. Before the credits, we learned the missile launch was covered up as a missile test, despite the condemnation of other nations. We also learned that the search for the boat that sank in the beginning of the game is being called off. This may not be much in the way of information, but it shows us that these events happen back to back in such a condensed amount of time. But with a missile scare, a nuke that just went off in the past week, and a power struggle in Russia, what is the world supposed to do now?
We're going deep and we're going hard.
Surely you can't be serious.
I'm serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Mile High Club is a simple mission. You play as an unnamed character with a small team. Your objective is to work your way to the front of a plane and secure the target. Pretty simple. This mission has a strange spot in the timeline. For the missions, it comes after the credits, so it indicates that there's more to the story. Some say it was supposed to be your first mission, replacing the boat in Crew Expendable. Some say it's just a fun idea. The only thing I know is that it leaves Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare ending with a bang. I would be lying if I said Call of Duty 4 was the best game of 2007. With releases like BioShock, Halo 3, and Uncharted, it's safe to say Modern Warfare had a run for its money. However, with the release of the new Modern Warfare 2, I just can't get this original series off of my mind. A heavy dose of nostalgia permeates this series. It was one of the first adult games I was allowed to play. Seriously, before this I was still playing on a Nintendo GameCube because my parents knew that it had the least amount of rated M games. The first time that my mom bought me and my brother a game that was too violent, it was Mortal Kombat 2 for the Sega Genesis. My mom was outraged that there were blood and skeletons in video games, something that she thought was supposed to be for kids. She used to hide it in a drawer with some old camera equipment in the closet, and my brother and I, we would set an alarm and put the game back before my parents came home. It sounds crazy, but when my parents bought me an Xbox 360 and a copy of Call of Duty 4 on the Christmas of 2007, it was almost like a coming-of-age milestone for me. I finally got to see what all of my friends at school talked about. I could hang out with them online and piss people off with the martyrdom, but I couldn't resist replaying the story because it was so much like a movie and I was the main character. Now, at an older age, I still enjoy this game, but I do see a lot of holes in it. It's not the best written. Some story points don't make sense. And obviously, what I discussed in the intermissions, we know it's all neolib propaganda, despite it claiming it's not a political game. Even in the most recent Modern Warfare, we pushed our Highway of Death incident onto Russia. And in a game about non-Western countries using nuclear weapons, we dare not touch the fact that the US military dispelled millions of depleted uranium rounds in the Middle East, rounds of which cause unspeakable sickness and defects for generations to come. I'm not concerned if Call of Duty picks a side. I already know they do that. I want Call of Duty to grow up like I did. The fact the creators toe the line of saying these games are not political is childish. War is political. The atrocities that are shown in the game are political. Call of Duty is political. I guess with that all out of the way, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I had a wonderful time writing this, and I said some very strong things about this game. If you do like this video and you want to see the rest of the series, let me know in the comments below. We would also be grateful if you liked the video and subscribe to the channel. Scout and I put a lot of work into this. And of course, if you disagree with me, feel free to comment and dislike the video as well. This has turned into a much larger project than I thought. I know many of our fans have been looking forward to our Let's Play material, and that's on me. As you guys know, I do work about 60 to 70 hours a week. It's really difficult to squeeze in time to be funny on the fly all the time. This was a project I could work on little by little and use my brain to retrain my writing skills. So I apologize for the long wait, but I hope that this video makes up for that. Your support means the world to me. I couldn't have made it through the tough times I had without you guys. Until next time, I'm Chris, and thank you so much for watching Parafox. And remember to stay foxy, my friends.